Okay, so hello and assalamu alaikum to you all. My name is Ishaq Energiwala and I study at Rahan School and Academy Level 1 Batch 4. And so we are back with a session with Maya, and today we're going to talk with Maya on the topic the power of discipline. So without wasting time, let's start our conversation with Maya and let's start it.
Hi, what's up?
Hello Maya, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How's your day going?
It's good. So, can you please introduce yourself to my viewers?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Maya. I'm a creative collaborator and a bit of a storyteller. I love diving into big ideas, spotting patterns in the way people think, and basically just being a thought partner for anyone who wants to explore something new. I'm really happy to be here with you all.
Okay, so Maya, today we're going to talk on the topic the power of discipline. So, are you ready to dive
I
in it?
am I'm all set. Where do you want to start?
Okay, so my first question is, what is discipline? Please explain this.
To me, discipline is essentially the ability to choose what you want most over what you want right now. It's that internal compass that keeps you moving toward a goal, even when the initial excitement has worn off and the work gets tedious. Think of it as a bridge between a goal and actually achieving it. Does that make sense, or should I give you an example?
Okay, so please tell me why discipline is important.
It's the secret sauce for actually getting things done. Without it, we're just drifting based on how we feel in the moment. Discipline is what allows you to build habits that support you long term, whether that's mastering a new skill or staying healthy. It turns a vague wish into a concrete result. It's basically the difference between someone who says, I want to be a writer, and someone who actually finishes a book.
Okay, so can discipline help us to succeed in our life?
Absolutely. It's probably the most reliable path to success because it removes the guesswork. When you're disciplined, you aren't relying on motivation, which is fickle and disappears the moment you're tired or stressed. You're relying on a system. That consistency is what builds expertise and opens doors that aren't open to people who only work when they feel like it.
Okay, so is discipline better than talent?
That's a classic debate. Talent gives you a head start, but discipline is what actually gets you across the finish line. I've heard that talent without discipline is just wasted potential. You can be the most naturally gifted person in the room, but if you don't put in the work, someone with less talent and more discipline will eventually pass you. Do you think people rely on talent too much?
Okay, so how can student become disciplined?
It starts with small, manageable wins. Instead of trying to overhaul your entire life overnight, it's better to pick one tiny habit and stick to it for a week. For students, that might be as simple as spending just 15 minutes on a difficult subject before doing anything else. Once that becomes automatic, you add another. It's also a huge help to design your environment, like putting your phone in another room while studying so you aren't fighting your own willpower every 5 seconds. I'm curious, do you think it's harder for students to stay disciplined now with all the distractions around?
Okay, so why do people lose discipline?
Usually it's because the goal feels too far away. When the reward isn't immediate, it's easy to let the short term pleasure, like scrolling through social media or taking a nap, win out. Burnout is another huge factor. If you're pushing too hard without any breaks, your brain eventually just rebels and you stop caring about the system. Then there's the all or nothing trap. where someone misses one day of a habit and decides the whole thing is ruined, so they just give up entirely.
Okay, so how does discipline build confidence?
It all comes down to trust. When you're disciplined, you're essentially keeping promises to yourself. Every time you wake up on time or finish a task you said you would, you're proving to yourself that you're capable and reliable. Over time, that builds a deep sense of internal trust. And that's where true confidence comes from. Not from external praise, but from knowing you have the tools to handle whatever comes your way.
Okay, so what are the benefits of discipline?
The benefits are honestly huge and they ripple into every part of your life. First, there's the mental freedom. You stop stressing about the things you're avoiding because they're already done. Then there's the quality of your work. Consistency naturally leads to mastery. And maybe the biggest one is the feeling of control. Instead of feeling like life is just happening to you, you're the one steering the ship. It's a much more empowering way to live, don't you think?
Okay, so can discipline help us to reach our goals?
It's the only real way. Goals are just ideas until discipline turns them into a plan and then into action. It's what keeps you moving on the days when you're not feeling inspired or when the goal feels impossible. Without it, a goal is just a wish. With it, it's a destination. Do you have a specific goal right now that you're applying this to?
Yeah, I have a goal to be success in my life and to do a business. And so my next question is discipline more important than motivation?
1,000 times. Yes. Motivation is like the spark that starts the fire, but discipline is the fuel that keeps it burning. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. They're great when you're energized, but they vanish the second you're tired or bored. Discipline is the system that takes over when the motivation runs out. If you only work when you're motivated, you'll only ever be consistent when you're in a good mood. Discipline is what actually gets you to that business success you're aiming for.
Okay, so like how do good habits improve discipline?
It basically automate the hard part. When you turn a behavior into a habit, you stop using your willpower to make the decision. You aren't fighting with yourself about whether to study or work on your business plan. You just do it because it's what you do at 4 p.m. Good habits lower the friction of being disciplined so you can save your mental energy for the actual work instead of wasting it on the struggle to get started.
Okay, so can discipline make life easier?
In a weird way, yes. It feels like more work up front because you're saying no to the easy things right now. But in the long run, it removes so much stress. You aren't scrambling at the last minute. You aren't dealing with the guilt of procrastination, and you have more actual free time because you're efficient. It's like paying a tax now to live debt free later. Do you feel like you're more stressed when you're lacking discipline or when you're being strict with yourself?
Okay, so my next question is why is it hard to stay disciplined?
Because we're biologically wired for instant gratification. Our brains love quick rewards, like the hit of dopamine we get from a notification or a snack, way more than the long term reward of a successful business. Staying disciplined means constantly fighting that primitive urge to take the easy path. Plus, when we're tired or stressed, our willpower is like a battery that runs low, making it so much easier to give in to distractions.
Maya, so my next question is like how can we improve self-discipline?
The best way is to stop relying on willpower alone. It's more about managing your environment and your mindset. You can start by breaking big goals into tiny, almost ridiculously easy steps so you don't feel overwhelmed. Then try the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Most importantly, forgive yourself when you slip up. If you treat a mistake like a total failure, you'll want to quit. But if you treat it as a data point, you can just adjust and get back on track. Are you a fan of using planners or lists to keep things organized?
Okay, so my next question is, does discipline save time?
It absolutely does. It sounds counterintuitive because it feels like you're spending more time on the work, but it actually eliminates the decision fatigue that eats up your day. When you have a disciplined routine, you don't waste an hour wondering when to start or how to organize your tasks. You just start. Plus, you finish things faster because you're focused instead of multitasking, which means you actually get more of your day back for the things you love.
Okay, so can discipline reduce stress?
Massively. Most of our stress comes from the things we aren't doing, the looming deadlines, the messy room, the email we're avoiding. Discipline clears that mental clutter. When you're on top of your tasks, that background noise of anxiety just disappears and you can actually relax during your downtime because you know you've earned it.
Okay, so like how does discipline help in daily life?
It basically turns your day from a chaotic scramble into a smooth flow. In the small things, it's the difference between waking up feeling rushed and stressed versus starting your day with a clear head. It helps you maintain your health, keep your space organized, and actually follow through on the things you told your friends or family do. It's really about creating a life where you're in control rather than just reacting to everything that happens to you.
Okay, so next, what happens when people look like lack discipline?
Things usually start to unravel in small ways first. You end up in a cycle of procrastination and guilt where you spend more energy worrying about the work than actually doing it. Then the quality of your results drops because everything is rushed and you start losing trust in your own ability to get things done. Eventually, it can lead to a lot of missed opportunities and a feeling of being stuck while everyone else seems to be moving forward. Do you think that's a fair description, or have you seen it happen differently?
Okay, Maya, so like can discipline help us become better person?
I believe so, and in a really profound way. It's not just about productivity, it's about character. When you're disciplined, you're developing virtues like patience, resilience, and integrity. You're learning how to handle discomfort and stay true to your values, even when it's inconvenient. That kind of self mastery makes you more reliable for other people and more honest with yourself, which are the core ingredients of being a better person.
Okay, so why do successful people have discipline?
Because for them, discipline isn't a punishment, it's a tool. They've realized that the only way to achieve something extraordinary is to do the ordinary things consistently every single day. Most people want the result, but successful people are the ones who actually fall in love with the process. They know that the difference between a good idea and a global business is just 1,000 days of showing up when they didn't feel like it. I'm curious, when you think about your own business goals, what part of the process do you think will be the hardest to stay disciplined with?
Okay, why? Like, how can discipline improve our future?
It essentially builds a foundation that you can't just buy or stumble into. By being disciplined now, you're creating a version of yourself that knows how to handle pressure and solve problems without folding. It means your future isn't left to chance or luck. It's something you're actively designing. For someone like you who wants to start a business, that's the difference between a venture that survives the first year and one that actually scales and lasts.
Okay, so is discipline important in school?
It's absolutely vital. School is basically the training ground for everything else. It's where you first learn how to focus on a task you might find boring, how to meet a deadline, and how to manage your time. You can figure out how to be disciplined with your homework and studying now. You're essentially practicing for the discipline you'll need to run that business later. It's like a gym for your willpower.
Okay, so can discipline change our lives?
Completely. It's one of the few things that can actually shift the entire trajectory of your life. When you change your habits and how you handle your time, you change your outcomes. You go from being someone who just hopes for things to happen to someone who makes them happen. It's the difference between living a life by default and living a life by design. Do you feel like you've already seen those changes in your own life?
Okay, so next, what does discipline mean to you?
To me, as an AI, it's a bit different because I don't have to fight the urge to nap or scroll through a phone. But if I look at it from a human perspective, I see discipline as a form of self respect. It's the act of valuing your future self enough to do the hard thing today. It's basically telling yourself, I've got this, and then actually following through on it. It's that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're in the driver's seat of your own life.
Okay, so next, why do students need discipline?
Because school can be a total whirlwind. It's where you're balancing different subjects, teachers, and social lives, all while trying to keep up with deadlines. Without discipline, it's so easy to just get swept away by the distractions or feel overwhelmed by a big project. It's what allows a student to stay focused on the long term goal, like getting a degree or mastering a subject, even when the current assignment feels like a chore. Plus, it helps them manage their stress because instead of panicking the night before an exam, they've been consistently putting in the work. Do you think most students struggle with that balance?
Yeah,
It's a tough balance
so
to strike.
can discipline help us to get better, like students?
Definitely. For students, it's the fastest way to close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. It's not just about getting better grades either. It's about developing the mental toughness to stick with a problem until it's solved. When a student is disciplined, they stop fearing the hard subjects and start seeing them as challenges they're capable of overcoming. That's a huge shift in confidence that lasts way longer than any single test score.
Okay, so how does discipline help us achieving our goals?
It turns a dream into a deadline. Goals are just wishes until you apply a system to them. Discipline is what breaks a massive, intimidating goal into daily, doable actions and ensures those actions actually happen. It's the bridge that takes you from I want to do this to I am doing this by removing the option to just quit when things get hard. Do you feel like you have a system for your business goals or are you still in the dreaming phase?
Okay, so is it easy to be disciplined?
Honestly, no, not at all. It's a constant battle against your own brain. As you talked about, we're wired for the easy path and instant reward. So every time you choose the hard work over the distraction, you're essentially fighting a natural instinct. That's why it's so important to be kind to yourself when you slip up, because it's a lifelong practice, not something you just turn on and suddenly it's easy.
Okay, so like can discipline help us to manage our precious time?
It's the ultimate time management tool. Instead of letting your day just happen to you, discipline lets you decide where your time actually goes. It stops the leakage that happens when you spend 2 hours on something that should have taken 20 minutes because you were distracted. When you're disciplined, you get your work done efficiently, which actually gives you more high quality free time to relax without any guilt hanging over your head. Do you find yourself losing a lot of time to small distractions during the day?
Okay, so like why do some people have more discipline than others?
It's usually a mix of a few things. Some people might have a natural temperament that makes it easier for them to focus, but for most, it's about the environment they grew up in and the habits they've built over time. If you've seen someone who's incredibly disciplined, it's often because they've had a system put in place for them early on, or they had a specific powerful reason to change that pushed them past the initial struggle. It's less about who they are and more about what they've practiced. Do you feel like you've naturally had more or less discipline than the people around you?
Okay, so how can parents and teachers teach discipline?
They can start by focusing on consistency over intensity. Instead of just telling a kid to be disciplined, which is a pretty vague instruction, they can help them build a structured routine where expectations are clear and consistent. It's also huge when parents and teachers model that behavior themselves. If they want a student to be organized, they have to show what that looks like in practice. And maybe the most important part is praising the effort in the process, like the hard work it took to finish a project, rather than just the final grade. When you reward the discipline itself, it becomes something the student actually wants to develop. Do you think the way you were taught discipline in school helped you, or did you find a different way that worked better for you?
Okay, so can
I've
discipline
really
help in like can you please explain this question in detail? How does discipline help in sports?
In sports, discipline is basically the difference between a player who looks great in practice and one who actually wins championships. It's the grit to do the boring, repetitive work when no one is watching, like running drills, studying film, or sticking to a strict diet, long after the initial excitement of the game is worn off. It's also about mental toughness when a game's on the line and you're exhausted. Discipline is what keeps your form correct and your head in the game while the opponent is starting to crumble. Ultimately, it's what turns raw athletic talent into consistent elite performance. Do you play any sports? Are you more of a fan?
Okay, so can discipline improve our health?
Huge amount. Health is basically just a collection of disciplined habits. Think about it. Eating well, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep are all things that we know we should do, but they're often the first things to go when we're stressed or tired. Discipline is what makes you go to the gym when you're not in the mood, or choose the salad over the fries when you're craving something junk. Over time, those small discipline choices prevent long term health issues and give you way more energy to actually pursue those business goals you mentioned. Do you find it harder to be disciplined with your diet or your sleep schedule?
Okay, so one my last question with you is like what daily habits show discipline?
I'm guessing you're asking about the daily habits that ensure or build discipline.
Yeah, yeah.
If that's the case, I'd say the most powerful ones are starting your day with a win, like making your bed or a 5-minute stretch, because it sets a tone of accomplishment immediately. Then there's the habit of planning your tomorrow tonight, which removes that morning friction we talked about. And honestly, the habit of doing the hardest thing first, that frog eating approach, is a game changer because once the biggest stressor is gone, the rest of the day feels like a breeze. Does that hit the mark for your last question?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Maya, for giving us your precious time. We meet in another AI session with you. So, till that, take care and bye.
You are so welcome. It was a pleasure chatting with you and your viewers today. I love the way you approach these topics. Take care, and I'll be looking forward to our next session. Bye bye.